Dan Perkins, cover crop guy, Jasper County Soil and Water, and here we are in our crimping plots demo. There's my BCS, and there's the crimping tool itself there that we use. And what I want to do is just go through the plots here, and I'll just point to each one. This is cereal rye rustic that we crimped. It is now June 8th, and I stuck some tomato plants in just to see how they would do. Watered them in. They've been in for 2 weeks. They look fairly spindly, completely nutrient deprived. Would expect that in this thick of cereal rye. Then we had Elbon, which crimped and killed fine. Then we had the VNS, which I had to crimp about 2 weeks later when it reached full flowering. And you can see that it's crimped and dying, and it sprang up a little bit, but not too bad. The barley, right here, that flowered about a week later than a rustic. I had to actually crimp that twice, and I think it's just there wasn't enough biomass. It was kind of spindly. This was a cereal rye that had hairy vetch in it, but hairy vetch got out-competed. Cereal rye was too thick. This was a barley and hairy vetch mix that I really liked. The barley was ready to crimp. The hairy vetch was at early pod. I should have waited till mid-pod because you can see some of it came back a little bit. And then here we have the crimson clover. That was at full flower. That actually crimped about the same time as a rustic, which I was really pleased with. And it completely killed. And there is the tomato I put into it. It looks far more robust and healthy than the ones over by the cereal rye, which makes sense. And another part of this kind of experiment that I did is I took half the plot and I flail mowed at the same date that I crimped this stuff. So flail mowing gives a nice clean look. It easily terminated it, whether it was at full flower or not, so that could be an advantage depending on timing. But the disadvantage is that you can already see here, there's chickweed coming in, there's a little bit of resprouting of the cereal rye that wasn't at full flowering, but not a lot. But you know, if you needed to get your plants in for specialty crops, it certainly will kill the cereal rye as long as it's at, you know, starting to pollen at least a little bit. So that's kind of my takeaway from that. Takeaway, crimson clover, and then here's a couple of varieties of hairy vetch that I crimped, and some of them were only at full flower, some were at early pod set, some were at mid pod set, and the seed got mixed a little bit. So, but this strip here is Winter Bounty, and that flowered the earliest, potted the earliest, and also crimped the best. This is actually hairy vetch that's grown over it, but there's still about 30% grow back. So I'm going to crimp that again today. I crimped it a week ago, and see if I can get a full kill. So it might be something that hairy vetch, you just got to crimp twice, and plan on that. And then this is a Balanza clover. It is just starting to set up a flower, so it's June 8th. All this stuff was planted last fall, and so that might be a viable option. I'm interested in looking at just different species of legumes. So that's my fall crimped plots, and also flail mowed. And we'll keep track of these, and I'm going to crimp it again today, and I'll give you an update later. Dan Perkins, cover crop guy.